Yes, indeed. It's Jermaine. I'm in here looking forward to a live discussion with Tanz Sam. I'm here representing the globular community. Tanz, you in there?
Hey, how are you, brother?
I'm pretty good, brother. How about yourself?
Yeah, very well, brother. Very well. Hey, apologies, man. I just saw your message to me, so man, I'm glad we're on now, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. First of all, hopefully, we may have some guests come. I mean, not some guests because it's just gonna be me and you, but
Yeah,
some
no worries,
viewers
man.
come in. My first hangout was Sunday. I had with Slick James. We did have some viewers at the time, and it was fun for me having that. But initially, my first hangout was gonna be with you, but
Yeah, yeah, man. I'm sorry about that, brother. Yeah, I was hoping for it, man. I was hoping. I don't know. It's just the notifications on my YouTube, man. I kept getting them like hours after you sent it, apparently. So sorry about that, brother.
oh no, you have no control over that, so I can't, say anything about that.
I'm sorry, man. I'm just gonna go into the garage, man. I'm just inside. I'm in New Zealand, brother. It's about 10 o'clock in the morning. Over here, school holidays are on, so I've got kids, man. All the kids are at home, so I'm gonna go outside, brother, and get away from the children, get away from the noise, brother.
Okay, okay, and we definitely can get into it. Then once you reach your resting place where you're gonna
Yep,
be,
yep. No,
you know.
go, brother. We're ready to go.
Okay, okay. My you said where you going? You already there?
Yep, I'm there. I'm here, man. Yep.
Okay,
Let's
okay,
do this, brother.
okay. First of all, I would like to ask, do you have any questions for me?
Um, no, not really, man. No, not really. I
Huh?
mean, no, I haven't really got any questions for you, man. I believe. I mean, I've got my own opinion towards the ideology that you represent, and it's pretty much the ideology that everyone else represents, brother. So no, I've got no real questions. With this whole topic, man, I just want to go back and forward and let you ask a question, I'll answer it, and vice versa, if that's okay.
You know what? Okay, let me see. Let me just make sure it's because I just realized it's saying we was offline. So let me. Okay, God dang it. Okay, let me. Okay, now let's see. I just want to make sure it's actually live. Let me
Sure,
see.
man. No
Let me.
worries.
Okay, I believe we definitely live now. Okay,
Awesome.
okay. Now, so you said, okay, going back and forth. So you said you don't have no question for me off the top.
No,
Okay.
not
Well,
nothing
let
for
me
you,
ask
man.
you this: do you have a model that you follow? I mean, and when I say model, I know most flat earthers don't have a model, but do you have a basic model? You know.
Model. Yeah, 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 yep, yep. I've not come up with my own model, but I do. I followed a certain flat earther by the name of Rob Skeever.
Okay.
And the model that he presented was yeah, is decent model. It's obviously worked off the whole Gleason's map, you know, type flat Earth map type um, model, I guess you could call it. I mean, but I haven't got my own model, man. No.
So how does the map look like? I mean,
the Gleason's map, like much
Oh, the
like
Gleason's map.
yeah, Gleason's map, yeah, pretty
Okay.
much. Yep.
Okay. How high is the sun and moon?
How
About
high is the
approximately.
sun and moon? There's no scales. I don't know the scales to it, man. What I can say to you honestly, the sun and moon look like they're the same distance and they're actually the same size. Sorry. So to me, my perception, yeah, that's I don't know how far. I don't what I believe in, brother, and you've probably gathered some. I am not a religious person, but I do believe there is a higher power.
Okay.
Religion belongs to Christians, Muslims, and Jews. But the book belongs to the children of Israel, which I am part of as a nation, I believe.
Okay. Okay.
So,
So
so in the book, we talk about the firmament. The firmament, the moon, and the sun being placed inside the firmament. Firmament.
okay. Yes. So that's what you believe?
Yes, brother.
Okay. Okay. So I got a basic idea. And the last question on your model, how about the stars? Do you believe the stars are attached to the firmament, outside of the firmament, or inside of the firmament?
Oh, within the firmament, yeah, definitely.
Within the firmament. Okay,
Yeah,
got you.
yeah. Well, when you see it, the firmament's the firmament. So, um, if I go back to the book, brother, the stars aren't really even considered as anything really.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So within the firmament, behind the firmament, they really aren't considered as anything
When you say they're not considered as anything, could you
major,
explain a little more?
anything major. So the signs were that he's gonna day and night exist basically. Day
Okay.
exists, night exists. Without the sun, day still exists. Without the moon, night still exists. So he said he's going to put two luminaries in the sky, one to rule the day, one rule the night. The powerful or the almighty illuminary will rule the day. So, and then he added the stars in between, and you know what I mean. So, wherever the stars are, they're up there. That's the truth.
Okay. So, all right. So we got a place to start from. Now,
Amen,
as
brother.
far as with me, I, believe in the heliocentric model. So you pretty much got an idea of
Yeah.
where I'm coming from.
Yes,
Now,
sir.
so,
Yes.
um, I guess since you don't have any questions for me off top, I can start with asking,
Oh,
huh?
yep. Go for it. Go for it.
Okay. Now, I know that I've heard some flat earthers say that you cannot tell what's under your feet by looking up. Okay. Now, I can see what that may hold weight when you're in a house or in a stadium per se.
Sure.
But when we know things like the path of the sun, when we
Yeah.
look at the path of the sun, for example, on the equinox, and the sun, no matter where you're at, except if you're in the pole at the poles or within the 60-degree north or south,
Yeah.
most of all the population sees the sun rise due east and set due west. Okay. And on that day, everybody has near a 12-hour sun above the horizon. Okay.
Yep.
So
Yep.
on that day, my question to you is, how would the Gleason's map explain that?
Um, the Gleason's map or the flat Earth map or the UN. UN map. It rotates the sun rotates around in a clockwise motion. Um, like the hands on the clock, you got the big hand, you got the little hand. Well, the big hand controls it, so it surrounds basically the sun moves around in a clockwise motion. And basically, if you look at the Gleason's map and Flatham UN map, you'll see that the sun will then be rising in the east and setting in the west, or coming from the east direction, moving towards the west.
Okay. Now, the thing is, the question that I asked, now I mean, well, we know that every day the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. That's if we're not at the poles, so that's pretty much a daily occurrence.
Sure.
Okay. But you know the difference between what the best for me to do is just like pull up a picture of this Gleason's map and share it. That'll probably be better, so we can get like a visual of what we're looking at. And like, I'm pulling up people with Gleason's map shirts. Okay, man. Have you
Sweet.
gotten
Yeah,
you any
sure, sure.
Gleason's? Have you gotten you any flatter paraphernalia or?
Nah, mate. Nah.
Okay, you haven't done anything like that yet. Okay,
No.
okay, man. Every one I'm pulling up got something on it, but let me see. Maybe this one.
I mean,
Oh,
a Rob
come on.
Skiba model of his flat Earth model would be a good model to look at too for yourself. After this or whatever, you want to do more research into that. The Gleason's map is basically a standing point and a sort of like a foundation. Everything was built off that. The Gleason's map was one of the first maps in the world to be used. Apparently, naval officers still use the Gleason's map to navigate through the seas. So it was more of a founding point. Different land structures and all that are different. Obviously, are going to be different. As I mean, if you try add the land mass on a globe to the Gleason's map, it wouldn't make sense. But it's more of a foundation map for flat earthers, I guess.
Can you see my screen?
No, sorry, I can't, brother. I'm trying to figure that out. Why can't? Can you see me? Am
I
I
can.
coming through?
I mean, I don't see a picture of you. I see like a blue.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. No, sorry, I can't see your screen, sir. But
Oh wow.
describe it to me. Is it a Gleason's map?
Yes, it's a Gleason's map,
Sure.
and we know that pretty much during the equinox, the sun would be circuiting above what is called the equator.
Sure.
Okay,
Sure.
and that in and of itself entails that if we are, for example, in Santiago, Chile, or in your location in New Zealand,
Yeah, right out the end of the earth, man. Yep.
yeah, in New Zealand, the
Yep.
sun, based on this map, would appear to rise north of east.
North of east. Northeast direction.
Yes,
Um,
based on the map
depending
now.
based on the map. Yeah, I mean, when I wake up in the morning, I see the sun come from the same direction. I mean, the sun hits New Zealand before it hits the rest of the world. So we start the day off. So it usually comes from the same direction, from the east.
Okay. Well,
Whether it's the
maybe.
northeast or the southeast, I can't really pinpoint the
Oh,
it on a compass.
okay. Well,
On
maybe
a
this would
compass.
be a little
And
more.
brother, right now, it's winter over here in New Zealand. So you're probably right. Because the sun could be coming from the northeast at this particular time? It's winter over here right now, brother.
Oh yeah, well no, definitely now it definitely would be coming from northeast. Okay,
Yep.
but
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying on the
That's exactly.
equinox, it should
Oh
be
yeah.
coming, or it does come from due east.
Sure.
And in your summer, it on December 21st, which is of course the December solstice,
Yes. That's correct. Yes.
the sun will appear to rise from the southeast.
East. Yes, that's correct. Because it would have passed through the tropics.
Of course, it would be at the Tropic of Capricorn on
Amen.
December 21st.
Amen, brother. That's correct.
My question to you, based on this map,
Yes.
how could the sun rise from southeast on the Gleason's
Um,
map? I wish you could see my
during
map.
during that time, sir. Basically, like you said, the sun passes through the tropics. So there's the Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of what is it, Capricorn. You know,
Yes.
it passes through the tropics. So what happens is everything north of the equator is towards the center of the Gleason's map. So anything
Mm-hmm.
north, any country you see north of the equator on your globe is directed towards mainly towards the center of the map. Anything south of the equator on your globe is directed to the outside of the map, to the outer rim of the map.
Mm-hmm.
So that equator, the sun detracts and contracts and detracts. So uh, uh, during the 21st, like you said,
Mm-hmm.
December 21st, that's our summertime. So the sun is on the outer rim of the map. Let's say the circled Earth, the flat Earth map. During the seasons, the sun contracts in towards the middle of the Earth, therefore going
Mm-hmm.
past the equinox or the equator, sorry, to give warmth into your season when your summer is there, and then winter time, the sun detracts and comes back out again towards the tropical Capricorn and starts that rotation and passes the equator again.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we get our seasons.
Yes, but your location, are you below the Tropic of Capricorn? Or I'm
Um,
gonna say out further. In other words, is the Tropic of Capricorn north from your location?
yeah, yeah, basically, yeah, yeah, definitely,
Okay.
definitely.
So we know that the Tropic of Capricorn is as far, quote unquote, south as the sun goes. And
Yep.
that is December 21st, is when it is circling directly above the Tropic of Capricorn. So
Yeah, yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, I'd say so.
my question once again is, if it is circling above the Tropic of Capricorn, which is north from your location, how
Yep.
is the sun rising and setting south of your location?
How is it setting, rising and setting south of my location? I can't, I don't get the maths on that. Because
Okay.
basically, with the chocolate of Capricorn, how can you tell where it ends? Who knows where the ending and the beginning of the tropical of I mean, we should know where the beginning is because it's the beginning should be the end of the tropical of Cancer. So when the beginning starts, we should know the beginning of the tropical Capricorn. But where does it end? Where does the tropic of Capricorn end? Does it end on the outer reaches of the water's edge? When I see it
No,
on a
well, we
globe,
know that the Tropic of Capricorn goes through Australia, it
yep,
goes
yeah.
through South America, and it goes through Africa.
So we know a beginning.
Well, if it's a circle, and we can mark the three major southern continents, Australia, Africa, and South America, and mark the location of the Tropic of Capricorn, and the Tropic of Capricorn is a circle, then we can know that, in other words, if we have part of the circle, we can draw the rest of the circle.
Yeah, that's what. In theory, yeah, that makes sense, but we can't really, can we? I mean, the water's edge, it goes to you know, towards Antarctica apparently. On I can see what you're coming at on the globe Earth. Yeah, definitely we can see it. But if you see on the flat Earth or the water's edge to me would be the end of the tropical Cancer. I mean Capricorn, sorry. You're going through continents where New Zealand's not a continent. Australia is a continent. Yeah, it's one of the biggest countries south of the border,
Mm-hmm.
basically. But we're not considered a continent because we're just a little tiny underneath Australia. But
Okay.
when I can see the sun like fully over top of me, where I'm in Auckland, in North Island, I believe the sun is above me. From my perspective, where I'm standing, the sun will be above me. To a person who's down in Christchurch, their perspective, I believe the sun will be above them. We can't see if it's north or south of us. It's just above us. So I
Well,
understand where you're coming from. I understand where you're coming from, brother. But I can't answer how big the Tropic of Capricorn is. We can say, yeah, runs through the continent of Australia, but Australia is a big continent. No one can ever
okay,
define that the tropical Cancer ended at Australia, brother. If you know what I mean, no
okay,
one can say that.
okay. Maybe I can come at it from this angle, uh,
Sure.
along the same lines of dealing with the sun. Maybe this would better give us a picture of what we dealing with. Okay, at you have a city at the bottom, near the bottom of South America,
Yep.
okay, which is called Ushuaia, Argentina. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
they're near the bottom.
Yep.
Okay, the sun, or during December 21st,
Yep.
they have almost 18 hours of sun above the horizon.
Sure.
Okay,
Sure.
on December 21st. Now I'm in the DC area, Washington DC, which
Sure.
is almost directly north
Of that
of
city.
Ushuaia. Okay.
Sure.
During that same day, we have here in DC 9.5 hours of daylight. So they have about 8 hours. Now, when I say daylight, I'm not talking about after the sun sets or before it rises. I'm not talking about that light. I'm talking about the sun above the horizon. We have 9.5 hours. They have
Right.
almost 18 hours. Okay.
Sure.
So what I'm saying is during this same day, we have 8 hours less. We can see the sun 8 hours less.
Sure.
Based on this map, and the sun circling above the Tropic of Capricorn. Now, this map shows a Tropic of Capricorn.
Sure.
Okay. The sun, when it sets for us, they will have 4 more hours of daylight. When it rises for us, they will have 4 hours of daylight before it even rises for us. Yet, the sun is closer to us, yet it's not risen for us, but yet it has already rose for those in Ushuaia.
Oh wow. So you're calculating on the months of December again, are
These
you?
December 21st.
Okay, so that's when the sun is closest to the center of the earth, basically. So obviously you are going to get it, you know, around that time because being Ushuaia, being you know closer to the south, or under the equator, so to say. Obviously, but when the opposite is at hand, when the the sun is, you know, on because when the sun is doing its rotation around the Tropic of Cancer, then Ushuaia will get more sun than you.
Hmm?
Is Ushuaia in the same season as you right now?
No, Ushuaia is in the same season as you.
Yeah, exactly, brother. Exactly, brother. So it makes sense that you're going to get right now in in December 21st, we're going to be the same season. So it's going to have more sun. It should have more sunlight in Ushuaia in December 21st. Is that correct?
Yes, but
So
that's why I wish you could see my screen because, as I said, yes, they should have more sun, but based on the map,
yeah,
we should have more sun. That's my point.
you should have more sun. But you're north of Ushuaia.
Yes, but
So
remember,
yeah,
on the flat Gleason's map, if you look at the map, I don't
yeah.
know if you have the ability to pull up a map for yourself,
I'm trying
but
to
if
picture it
you,
in my head. I'm trying
huh?
to picture it in my head. So
You said you're trying to what?
picture it in my head.
Okay. If you can try to picture it in your head,
Yeah.
and I don't know if you have an idea where Johannesburg, Africa is, but
Yep.
it's
Yep.
in South Africa.
Yes.
Okay. If you picture Johannesburg in South Africa, okay,
Sure.
the sun is rising for us in DC after it has passed Johannesburg, South Africa. Now, based on this map, we are closer to Johannesburg in DC than Ushuaia is.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. No. 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 I'll get that. And based on that map, like I said, it was a foundation map.
Okay.
Obviously, landmass and all that is to scale. It's not going to work. It doesn't match up with a. If you put all that on the globe, which some NASA globes out there throughout the years have had done, and it doesn't match up. The land mass on the Gleason's map on a globe map, it doesn't match up. It doesn't work. So yeah, no, definitely, I know what you mean. But in reality, yes, um, what is it? South Africa is quite a distance from you. We know that. We can see the distance on the globe map, so we can try and judge that distance on our own. So we know that. Um, However, South Africa to the border of um, the Antarctic Wall, so to say, we we in New Zealand are the closest country south of the equator that's ever going to be closest. That's the closest to the Antarctic Wall or
Mm-hmm.
Antarctica, so to say. So when you're trying to give me an example. I can't give you an example of. I know the tropics go through the continents. I know that, but I don't know when the Tropic of Capricorn ends. I know where it begins, but I can't tell you where it ends. And I believe it ends after New Zealand. you know, we're closest to the wall, and so it has to end over us because I see the sun come over the top of me. So the Gleason's map is more of a founding map. As I can say, go look at a Gleason's map and a UN map, and you can pop it up straight away on Google. Go look at a flat Earth map, and you'll just see models. But
Okay.
the models are in scale. I believe a lot of these flat earthers who have come up with these flat Earth models, um, they're in scale. They're getting it to a right dimension of scale. Gleason's was what over 200 years ago. I mean, how we gonna ever you know believe what Isaac Newton and Galileo and Copernicus and all that came up with 200, 300 years ago. I can readily admit that the Gleason's map is not to scale. It can't be. They were working with primitive instruments and using primitive science, but actual factual science to come up with the Gleason's map. You know, they're walking around the land trying to do the landmass. Yeah. So it's more just a foundation of a flat Earth map.
Okay, now moving to, do you have any questions?
Um, you know, the, when do you globetards start realizing, man?
Come
How
on
many
with it.
questions you gotta ask, man? I'm not being. I'm not. I'm trying to be funny, you know, but I'm
No,
trying to be
no, you know,
serious at
you
the same
was
time,
funny.
brother.
That's right.
Yeah, yeah. But throw the questions out, man. Like,
Oh,
brother. I mean, we can talk about the cap. You know, I know where you're trying to get at, but if we put it to scale on a globe map, it probably doesn't work. It's fair enough, but you know where I'm getting at. I know you know where I'm getting at. I can't calculate uh, the mass area of the tropical Capricorn. It ends in Australia, man. What am I? What are we? Why are
well,
we even on the map?
well, we know that a circumference doesn't end. It's infinite. So when you
Amen.
say where the Tropic of Capricorn ends, it doesn't end. It's a circle. It goes
Amen.
in a circle. It's 360 degrees.
Amen, brother. Amen. That's correct, brother. Amen.
So, I mean, okay, you're in the southern part of the earth, or what is called the southern part. Now, you're able to see, I know you said the stars don't really mean nothing, but you're able to see a different sky than I can see here in the northern hemisphere. If you
Apparently so, brother. Apparently so.
if you
I'll
have
try
a
to, I'm
compass,
gonna try and get the camera video on, and I'll see if I can show you the sun and everything.
okay. Now,
Okay, so I am in Auckland. Okay, so
you're in Auckland. Okay, go ahead.
I'm in Auckland, New Zealand. To the west of Auckland,
Okay.
New Zealand, and yeah, let me try this. Let me try this. Oh, you can see me. How are you, brother?
Yeah, I can see you. I can see you now.
Awesome. So there's the sun there, man.
Okay.
Okay, the sun rose from that direction that way. That's the east. That's east. I'm gonna
Okay.
try to flip this camera around, man, so I can. So I don't know. Have to. How do I do that? There we go. And how do I flip this around, brother, so you can see? How about that one? Is it that one? Okay, here we go. So there's the sun there, brother.
Okay.
Okay. The time now is 10:50 a.m. in the morning. The sun came from that direction.
Okay.
Now, when I look at the sun, and just give you a picture, when I look at the sun here right now, you can see it. You see the circle of it, everything, because the light's been filtered out. Well, that is about the same size. If I could see the moon, because the moon was out, I believe, this morning. Well, that's the exact same size as the moon at night. You know, obviously, if the moon was a full moon, it would probably look like that. The sun's always full, so we can't tell it when the sun's a crescent. You know, to add it up to the moon, but that's basically the sun. So it came in that direction, brother, and that's east.
Yes.
South is that direction. So that Antarctica is in that direction, brother.
Okay. And see, it would be good if this was December and I was talking to you, because then we can be able to look and see the direction in which the sun is coming. Now, I expect it to be able or to come from northeast this
Yeah,
time of year.
yeah, it probably is, man. Yeah, it probably definitely is, sir. All
And
I
I
know, just
agree
can't
that the
tell
moon
that.
is pretty much the same size in the sky. It's about a, a small tenth of a degree, a half. Like the sun is around 0.54 degrees, between five
Wow.
two and 5.4 degrees, and the moon is about 0.51, somewhere around it. So it's pretty much. the same size. I mean, you can't tell the difference with the naked eye, that's for sure.
Definitely,
Um,
yeah, definitely not.
okay. Now, but what I was getting to is that you being in New Zealand,
Yeah.
looking at the stars, okay, you see a different set of stars than I see in North America. Now,
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't know that.
when you look, if you had a compass and you look due south from your location
Sure.
at nighttime, you would be able to see a celestial point where the stars are rotating around.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. 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 I believe I've heard of that. The North Side. Are you talking about?
No, I'm not talking about north. I'm talking about south.
Oh, South. Okay. Okay.
South from your location.
Sure. Sure.
Directly due south. Okay. In your part of the world, you're able to see the Southern Cross, and
Yes.
you're able to see uh, a celestial point which is near a star called Sigma Octantis, which is pretty much due south from your location, directly south from your location.
Sure.
Now, you being in New Zealand, if you were in Africa, Australia, or South America looking due south, you would also be able to see this same celestial point.
Got you. Sure.
Okay.
Sure. Sure.
On, and this doesn't require accurate measurements.
Sure.
On a Gleason's map, not being accurate, we understand that. But you being in New Zealand, somebody else being in Africa, and somebody else being in South America, that's
Sure.
three totally different directions.
Definitely. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Gotcha.
But yet they see the same stars rotating around the same celestial
Point.
point.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Yep. No. No. I don't. Yeah. I don't have no issues with that. I believe that's how they'd see it too. I understand from a globe point of view, it shouldn't look like that. It should look upside down to the guys over there in Africa or where else over in the other part of the world. Yeah, no, definitely, it should look upside down. And the reason why it looks the same is because the stars apparently dance around the Earth in the same motion. And
Okay,
I
I'm
think
trying to understand what you're saying. You saying the stars. Okay, if
move move in the same motion, that in the same circle every day. They move around the what is it? The North Star. The North Star always stays center. It never deflects or it goes anywhere. All the stars rotate around the North Star.
okay,
So it would make sense that yeah, definitely, Africa will see the celestial points the same way I see the celestial points.
but the thing is that celestial point is not moving across the
Oh,
sky. It's in the same location. It's due south. Now
so is
you're
the
looking in a
celestial
totally opposite direction than
sure,
somebody is that's in South America virtually. You're
sure,
virtually looking in the opposite direction, yet y'all see the same thing. Now it can be nighttime in New Zealand and
sure.
in um and in Perth at the same time. Okay. Perth,
Yep,
Australia.
yep, okay, yep, yep, yeah. It's sunrise. Yeah, yeah, sure, yeah, yeah, I get that. Yep, yep, that's
But
right.
yet both of y'all look due south and y'all see the same things in
Yeah,
from Australia to Africa at night at the same time. But yet they can look due south and see the same celestial point.
Sure, of course. No, no, I get what you mean, sir. Yeah, now I know what you mean, and the answer still stays the same. I thought the celestial point was actually the North Star, but I don't. Sorry, I don't know what the celestial point is. I based it on the North Star. I
Okay.
forgot the name of the star, but
It's
it's the
called
North Star.
Polaris.
Polaris. Yes, yes,
Yes.
that's him. There you go. So yeah, and all the other stars around the North Star stays pivotal and never moves. It stays in its position every night. So every time you look up in the night sky and you see the North Star, everything, all the stars around it, sort of rotate around that North Star. When you're saying that at nighttime, I see the celestial point, or the same formation as Africa sees it at nighttime, that also is true. I believe that 100%. However, when I'm in nighttime, Africa's not in nighttime.
But when you're in nighttime, okay, okay,
Australia would be at
where
nighttime.
you're at in New Zealand,
Yeah,
you and
Australia.
no, I know you and Australia can be at night at the same time, but you and okay, what time is it for you?
Uh,
Okay,
it's 11 o'clock in the morning right now here in Auckland.
okay, it's 11 in the morning. Okay, so during the winter, so during March, no, let me see, June 21st.
Sure.
June 21st is your shortest day of the year there. So
Yes,
um
yes, yes.
I believe you have 9 hours and some change.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, yep. A little bit of change
During
anyway.
that day, you and hold up, let me verify this. I don't want to be saying something and not be accurate
No,
with
cool,
what I'm
sure.
saying,
Go for
especially
it.
if I'm catching myself as I'm saying it. So I just want to make sure I'm right.
No worries. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
sure, sure.
So you're in Auckland, and let me see here. Let me see something. I want to see. This is a map site map. Okay. Let me see if I can get it here. So what made you, while I'm looking for this, what made you start to, because I'm not religious per se, but I do believe in a creator.
Sure,
So
amen.
what made you come to
Flat Earth.
Flat Earth?
Um, I wasn't part of any sort of religion. Yeah, I I I I was born into a religion, into Christianity. Okay.
Okay.
Um, a Presbyterian denomination of Christianity. But I didn't. The whole flat Earth thing never was ever based on my faith in a creator.
Okay.
Um, I dropped Christianity, religion, and all that, and just went on my own path, so to say. When I came into the knowledge of this whole flat Earth thing, um, I what is it? I wanted to debunk it. Well, who was it? Who was it? It was someone like, it was like Bob and all his mates. Bob came out and said something about flat Earth about 2.5 years, 3 years ago. Um, I'm more of a flat earther from about 2 years ago, so 2 years now running. Um, and my whole demeanor around it was basically, what the hell, what this is Bob, I want to be a millionaire so freaking
Mhm.
bad. So I'm thinking, man, what this dude's like putting his whole career on the line to try and prove a point. And what points is he trying to prove? We've already proven it. You know what I mean? So, I got to, you know, getting out there with the swords on, man, and slaughtering all these flat earthers down. I didn't realize that. I didn't even know the math myself.
Okay.
Of the globe and the heliocentric model that we've been indoctrinated with, so to say, is what I say, you know. So I didn't even know the globe model myself. So, you know, I'm seeing all these questions from these, you know, flat earthers, and I'm thinking, you know, I can't answer it. But I knew I couldn't answer it because I didn't know the model myself. So I tried to look into the globe model myself to try and you know what I've learned is so much rubbish, man. You know what I found out that I've learned throughout the system, throughout my schooling system. I'm not a university or Harvard degree graduate. I've got nothing. You know, I just got me. You know, and my children, brother. So
Okay.
I had no, you know, I had no idea of what, you know, I was indoctrinated with on this whole globe Earth thing, that I could ever come up with a decent or suitable rebuttal. You know, I had no idea, so I couldn't just come out and say, "Bob, you're an idiot." You know, what's wrong with you? You know, I had to study into it, man. And the questions you popped up to me just you know, just at the beginning of our interview, brother, I could have answered that 2 years ago, man.
Okay.
Obviously you've done your studies, brother, you know, and blessings, man, you know, and obviously you know the globe model. I can tell that, just listening to you. It's the first time I've met you, so obviously you know the globe model. Obviously you know what you're talking about. So you've been you know, I can say you've been indoctrinated, but you've learnt the doctrine of the globe model, and that's awesome. But 2 years ago, I could not have answered a single question that you threw to me if I was a flat earther. You know, and when I came in to find that, you know, there's a little bit of a deceit, you know, and this whole globe Earth, flat Earth type thing, you know, I then believe that, you know, they were trying to hide the bigger picture. The bigger picture is not the whole what shape of the bloody Earth is. The bigger picture to me is there a creator? Are we a creation, or were we just manifestly popped out of thin air via the Big Bang? You know what I mean? If you don't
Hmm.
believe in a creator, one, then you believe in science. You believe that you manifested out of a scum from a pond, a primordial soup. That's how you believe. When I see
Okay.
that, when I came into the realization that I believe that the Earth is flat, I started looking deeply, or more deeper, into the book, brother.
Okay. Okay. All
And
right.
to
All
me,
right.
everything matches up.
Okay. Well, first of all, let me say that when it comes to believing in God and the Big Bang Theory or versus the Big Bang Theory, me personally, I believe that, like I said before, I believe in the creator, but I also believe that many of these things that are in science that they feel are proof, right, well, they don't use the term proof, that are evidence for what we call evolution. I believe that it's possible the way the creator worked because there's no time limit on how the creator can work.
Sure.
The creator is outside of time, and therefore whatever process, because I believe that everything has a process.
Sure.
And when we deal with physical reality has a process. And I believe that to the creator's creation, there was a process. And that's why in his creation, anything that we do, anything that we want to accomplish, we have to be willing to go through a process. If you want that knight's body, that what they call beach body, then you're gonna have to go through a process to get
Sure.
that body. It's just, you know, something you're not gonna get it overnight. You know, it's a
Sure.
process that you have to go through. And so I believe that when you're dealing with the physical reality, the creator set up laws, rules, and things of this nature that involves the creation. So don't get me wrong, I know that science, but you got many scientists who are religious. And you have a lot of scientists today that believe that they have a lot of evidence that consciousness had to create this world that we're living in. But anyway, I did find what I was looking for.
Yep.
Okay. On June 21st,
Yep.
Santiago, Chile. Right here, I got the 22nd. Let me just share my screen. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if you will be able to see it, but I'm gonna just
Sure.
share my screen. And on the 22nd of June, 2018,
Sure.
the whole of New Zealand is in darkness, and Santiago, Chile, in South America is in darkness.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Wow. Wow. Yep.
So even though they're on virtually opposite sides of the Gleason's map,
Yep.
it's nighttime for both of them at the same time, yet they're looking due south, seeing the same thing, once again, looking in virtually opposite directions.
Sure. Sure. Okay. I get that.
Yes. So,
I'm looking at your globe model map representation though.
oh, you
If
can
you
see
try
my
to show
screen
something,
now?
yeah, I can see your screen now, brother. Yep. Yep. Yep.
Okay.
So if
Now
we can,
let me flip to this Gleason's.
sure.
Okay. You are over here in New Zealand,
Right.
and South America, or Santiago, Chile is around here.
Sure.
Okay. Them looking due south
Yep.
from their location, and
Sure.
you from your location looking due south
Sure.
is in a different direction, yet they see the same stars revolving around a center point.
Sure. Yeah. No. Definitely. Yep. No. Definitely. Yeah.
Okay,
But are we
so
looking at the same stars at the same in the same formations? Like,
yeah, they're in the
is
same
it kind of?
formations.
Yep.
Everything is the same.
Yep. Yep. Is that like what I mean is, has that been proven? So you're saying that somebody in Santiago, Chile, and somebody in New Zealand here took a photo or at the same time in sync into the same direction and saw the same formation of stars. I
No,
understand looking south. Yeah, I understand looking south is saying, okay, I'm looking south. I can say I'm looking south, but I could be looking southeast or southwest. I don't. I unless I'm got an accurate point of compass on me at the time that I in sync took a photo with that person in Santiago, Chile, and he had the
uh-huh.
same compass point. We can then say that it has been proven. Until then, what we're going off is just we're looking at. You know, I
Okay. Okay. Well, we definitely can we definitely can fall back to that position now. We know that you have a multitude of amateur astronomers
sure.
that who actually study the stars, and of course they definitely are aware whether they're looking east, west, north, or south based on their astronomy, because they have to know, or they learn where the stars are located. In other words, they
Sure.
learn the constellations, and they
Sure.
learn the different stars and their locations and where to expect to see them, because in order for them to catch certain stars and certain constellations, then they have to
Sure.
know where to look, because if not,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's basically like you looking, you don't even know where to look, you know.
Yeah. Definitely. 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 I'm talking
Okay.
about on the same night, in sync in the same direction. We
Okay.
we 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 can have you know
and,
uh
and
opinions from different types of people, I guess. But if it's in the same site from the same direction, Sorry. At the same time, looking at the same constellation of stars. Yeah, definitely. You know.
Okay, Southern Star Trails. Now I the other day. Okay, see this. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna just show you something. I don't have anything where I have evidence that two people have taken it on the same
Right.
day,
Yeah.
but I just let me see. Boom, boom, boom. Just trying to look for a decent picture that may be mentioning where it's taken from. Matter of fact, let me see here. Um, I don't know. Blah, 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 blah. Let's see. Hmm. See, let me see this. See this. Star Trails. This from Juan Carlos. Now he pretty much near the equator with that one. Okay. However, just say the locations like sky South Pole in this photo. Boom, boom. Okay, they looking.
Brother, like you can look at all you want. We both know that it won't happen. You know, we can't see it. No one's actually tested it. You know, tested it. We
Well,
can look at the
what I
sun.
wanted to say about this though is this center point right here that I'm pointing at.
Sure. Yep.
It doesn't move across the sky.
It
If
shouldn't.
you go out, this is what you can do. You can go out tonight. I mean, I ain't asking you to do it, but my point is you can go out tonight,
Sure.
and if you're able to see the South Celestial Point,
Sure.
which you can, if you're the area you're looking from is not too exposed with
Covered.
light. You know, major
Yeah.
cities it's harder to see stars because of the light.
Okay. Okay. Sure.
But if you're able to see the stars and
Yep.
locate the South Celestial Point by looking due south, this
Yep.
center point right here
Mm-hmm.
does not, no matter how long you look at it throughout the night, it does not move across the sky.
No, it shouldn't. No, it
Oh,
should be pivot. It should be stuck there. Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
it's stuck there. So my point with that is, even if we don't have something where we saying, okay, we got a person on video shooting from New Zealand and then another person shooting from
Santiago.
Santiago, and they're looking at this point. But what we do know is that this point doesn't move, and the
Sure.
same stars revolve around it. And
Sure.
so, if that point doesn't move across the sky, how are we seeing that in a totally different location, the same point? Now, like you
Yep.
said, I mean, once again, we don't have somebody doing it at the same time. I don't have no evidence of that part. But what we do have evidence of and videos of is that that point never moves.
Never moves. Yeah, and I totally agree with that, sir.
Okay. Um, something I did about a, a about a week, no, but been about 2 weeks ago. A guy was asking me because he wanted to see flight paths.
Sure.
Okay, because we were talking about a flight from Santiago to Sydney, which,
Right. Yep.
like I said, Santiago is here, Sydney is around here.
Yep.
Okay. Now, California or LA is around here.
Sure.
Okay. So Santiago here, LA here, Santiago here, Sydney here, which
Yep.
based on this map, if you're leaving Santiago California or LA is I'm gonna be generous. I'm gonna say it's halfway there.
Sure. Yep.
Okay. Now, if I go to okay, let's see, I got now this was back in June 29th because I wanted to show because he said, well, I want to see the path that the plane is taking.
Sure.
So what I did, I went on a radar site and begin to take screenshots throughout the day
Sure.
of different uh,
Flight patterns.
one going from LA, I mean, or from Santiago to LA, and one going from Santiago to Sydney.
Sure.
The flight from Santiago to Sydney is shorter in time, okay? And
Right.
also, when they are going to Sydney, the
Sure.
plane flies south from Santiago when it's heading to Sydney
Sure.
versus uh, flying north when it's heading to LA. Now, I
Okay.
don't know why is this joint doing this, but okay. Now, this was an actual flight that I followed
Sweet. Sure.
throughout the time that it was and I actually went to different sites because I was trying to verify these things on different sites. I'm just trying to pull the pictures up. I was just trying to verify these things on different sites. And
Sure.
what I was now this is a okay, if I look at what got the well the UTC time is the universal coordinated time, but it was at on this flight radar 24 at 2053. This was on dang, I can't see the date and stuff, man. Anyway, but this is showing the flight QFA 28
Sure.
uh going from Santiago heading to Sydney.
Sure.
Okay, now it's showing the plane south of Santiago, which is up here somewhere.
Sure.
Okay. Now, and like I said, this is another site I did right after that, and it's
Sure.
showing it going south, pretty much in the same area where I did do this family.
Okay.
Okay. And so my point with this is let's look at the Gleasons, but yet the plane is flying south, heading to Sydney.
Right.
Now, if I look at it going to LA, let me see if I got it. LA. I'm seeing all Sydney. I'm seeing all Sydney. I'm seeing all.
LA to
Dang.
Sydney's just there. That one.
Hmm. See, that's Santiago to Sydney. That's. Let me see. Boom, boom. Let me hit this. Now, okay, no, that's from LA to Sydney, which is also south. Okay, that was a flight from LA to Sydney. That was on June 29th. Now that's also flying south, which if we look at the Gleasons, that would be flying north.
Sure.
Okay. How would you explain that?
You said it was flying north. I think it's flying west. North is the
Well,
center.
well, yeah,
South.
you could say it's flying west, but on
West.
that
Yeah.
picture it's flying south.
Yeah. On that picture, that's obviously a globe picture. That looks like it's flying in the south direction. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, how would you explain this?
It's flying in a west direction. I mean, if you think about it, why would it? You look at the just the placing of the of Sydney and the destination. Um, it's looping. It looks like it's going underneath New Zealand. Now we know that that's not going to happen. So how could that look like it's an accurate flight tracker? You'd think it would be just a straight line, straight from uh, point A to point B, but it's looping
No,
underneath.
because they're going around they're going a circle route. They're going to what they call a great circle route. So they are going around the circle. So that's why you see a dip, because it's just
Oh,
showing
it's
you it's
like
going around a circle.
but it's actually going straight.
Almost, pretty much.
So it doesn't pass the north of Auckland, but it does pass the north of Auckland. Okay, I can see that. Well, if it's going straight, then it's just going in a westerly direction, isn't it? It
Now
looks like it's going south, but that's the circle direction that you're talking about.
now look at the plane itself. Now it left,
Sure,
if it is now Santiago is north of Ushuaia. Ushuaia is down here.
sure,
Okay. Santiago is north of Ushuaia, yet the plane is down near the latitude of Ushuaia. So even though you can say it's going west, but it's going deep southwest.
sure,
So in other
sure.
words, it's already as low as Ushuaia almost, coming
Almost, yeah,
from
yeah,
a
yeah. No,
northern part.
definitely, definitely. And on a Gleason's map, it won't be not lower than Ushuaia. It'll be going through basically closer to
Yeah,
um, LA than it would
LA.
be going to Ushuaia. It would have no reason to go to Ushuaia.
Exactly.
It's it's definitely going in a west direction. We're looking when try to project this equation on a globe map, it can't work. It will definitely look like it's dipping under New Zealand. But like you said, it's not dipping, it's actually going straight, but it's because it's catering for circumference and curvature, it seems it's dipping. So if it's not dipping, then it's not really going below Ushuaia, really, is it? It's going straight.
No,
So it
but
stays
see,
above
let
Ushuaia.
me show you how it would look more so on an actual globe model, because I do have what is called oh shit, let me get this on the screen for somebody try to
So
snipe us.
take your time, sir. I'm just going to run and make a quick coffee, mate. Is that okay?
Okay, that's fine.
Won't be a minute. Won't be a minute, sir.
Okay. Yeah, just talking to my friend here for the first time, and just looking for an understanding of why we have accepted a flat earth without any type. Now we question the globe and we say, well, why they haven't did this, or if the globe is true, why they haven't did that? Well, you have to ask yourself this: if you believe in the flat earth, if the earth is flat, why is there no model? Why is there no map? When you ask a flat earther, do they have a model or a map? Some of them will point to a Gleason's map or the AE map, an oblique Mercator map, or uh, a Urbano Monte map. But yet, most flat earthers don't have a model. They have themselves debunked the AE map. That's right, Admiral Church. The earth is not flat. I got a lot of dislikes, I guess, because a lot of flat earthers said or seen flat earth discussion or live discussion, and they figured that it would be pro flat earth. And so we have 6 dislikes. Like we know that, I guess, when you're doing something right, you're gonna get a lot of people to hate, right? Y'all know that. So anyway, I'm just waiting for Tanz Sam to come back so we can continue this discussion for a little bit longer. I plan to hold this discussion open for about another half hour or so that we can discuss a little more. I'm waiting for him to ask me some questions because he said that he could not, it was just certain questions about the globe that he could not answer. And therefore, in turn, pretty much, he became a flat earther. So I'm just wondering what questions that he couldn't answer. You know, I would like to find that out because I would like to have at some of those questions that he has or that he couldn't answer. And maybe, we can bring some clarity to those questions that he had or that was given to him that he couldn't answer.
Hey, brother,
So
I'm back. I'm back, brother.
yes. Okay, you are back. All right. Now, what I'm gonna do, is I'm pulling up a globe, or I did pull it up, and I'm gonna just give you an idea of okay. Now, what I'm gonna do? Let me see. Let me just speed up the. Okay, got your coffee, man. You ain't got too much.
Yep. Ready to go,
You got
man.
too much
Ready to go
sugar
for
in
the
it,
long
D.
haul, brother.
Yeah, yeah. Let me you know what? I'm gonna go. Let me see. Let's go to December. Let me just go back to December. So let me just share my screen. Let me just share. Let's see here. Okay. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes. Yes, again.
Okay. Let me just let me and let me just get it to okay. All right. Let's see. Let me get it back down to regular speed. Okay. Bring it down in the center a little bit. And pretty much. Now you see why you would be going south. Now you see New Zealand is right here. It's kind of in the dark. Let me see if I
Yes.
can let me see if I can let me see. Let's see. Let me you know, I was trying to get both of them in the light at the same time,
Yeah, no. I understand. I
you
know
but you
what
can
you mean.
see
Yep.
you can
Yep.
see
I can
that.
see.
Okay, so yeah, it will be going south here and going straight across to here.
Sure.
And so, of course, if you made it or flattened it out, it's gonna look like you're going down and making a hoop or like
Yep.
a
Yep. I
semicircle.
get that. I get that.
Okay.
Okay. So just a quick question. So would it still be traveling below um Ushuaia, that the city that we're talking about? Oh gee, what was it? Ushuaia?
Ushuaia, yes. Um,
Um, just with what you showed me with that the globe Earth, would the plane still be going lower than Ushuaia? Meaning, would it still be going closer to Antarctica than Ushuaia would? I don't think it would be, would it?
now, now keep in mind, Sydney is around here.
Yes.
Okay. Now Santiago is around here.
Sure.
So as it's flying, which pretty much is a straight line,
We
it's
should see
going,
they pass
huh?
Antarctica.
No, but they
You're
never
saying
hit
past
Antarctica.
Antarctica. Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
So
but
it'll be
they
going
do go
past it.
past it, but they
Yeah,
never go over
yeah.
top of it.
No, no, never, never, never. Of course not. What I'm saying
Okay.
is, first and
Uh-huh.
foremost, Ushuaia would be closer to Antarctica from its own point. So if
Yeah.
you put the pointer back onto Ushuaia, and you look at the distance between Ushuaia and its point that's straight down to Antarctica, Ushuaia will be at
Uh-huh.
its own point. What you're saying is the plane will fly in its direction. It will get close enough to Antarctica to actually see Antarctica, right? But not. But you're saying it'll be lower or closer to Antarctica than Ushuaia is at the moment, where Ushuaia is, meaning that it's gotten southern to it's gotten past south, past Ushuaia in every sense. I can honestly say to you, brother, no one's seen the Antarctic Wall when they've gone from from Santiago to Sydney. Why would you know? Why wouldn't you take photos of Antarctica if you're traveling directly past it? The line, the line of travel is actually closer to Antarctica than Ushuaia is.
It's
Does that make
possibly,
sense?
but you got to understand that these are representing hundreds, if not thousands of miles of difference.
Yeah,
So in other
definitely.
words, if you're 35,000 feet on a globe Earth, the horizon, let's see what it say, how far it
Gotcha.
says that the horizon would be on a
Definitely.
globe.
But when you're in a plane 30,000 feet in the air,
Hmm.
you should see the curvature of the Earth as well.
Oh, I
You
could show
should
you
see.
somebody that was in a plane about a few days ago, and you can see the curvature of the Earth. You want to see that too?
Oh,
Oh, I can show you that.
I don't believe that he
Because
saw the curvature.
it wasn't no clouds in the sky. You couldn't see no
Oh,
clouds. See, most of them pictures you're looking at clouds, and your field of view is not wide enough. But in this particular picture, and it shows the camera going up and down, meaning that you see
curvature and
the horizon in
con-
the higher part of the picture, and you see it in the lower part, and it's still relatively in the same
cur-
curve, and it's showing that the horizon is far lower than
well, okay, I'd like to see it.
your line of sight.
I'd like to see it. I've definitely not seen curvature 40,000 feet in the air. But no, I'd like to see that, sir. Definitely. You know.
Oh my man.
Obviously, we're talking about a video that's in a passenger plane 40,000 feet in the air.
No, this is a pilot. This is a pilot, and he just posted it within the last 2 days. You ever heard of Wolfie 6020?
No, no, I haven't.
Oh man. Oh man. I would advise you, because all he does is serious experiments. He's an actual pilot. He has
Sure.
many man, I gotta go for 6010. He's an actual pilot, and he has many videos dealing with a lot of the questions flat earthers have. He
Sure.
offers challenges. He's in Australia. Okay.
All right.
This is
Awesome.
Wolfie 6020. And he like I said, he takes pictures from the cockpit on a regular basis. Here's one from
Awesome.
2 days ago. Okay. He's showing you that the horizon is not rising to the eye level. Okay.
Okay.
But
Okay.
as he's flying,
I can see that, and I can see
okay.
curvature there too.
Now watch as it moves, just to show you camera is not distorting the image,
Yep.
because it's only a few, it's not even a minute long. But his point of this video is just to show that it doesn't rise to eye level,
Oh,
you
got
know.
you. Got you. Got you. Got you. I
But you
understand.
you can see the curve there.
Oh, I can see what I can see
Okay.
what appears to be curve. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. I
Okay.
can see what appears to be a curve.
But that's
And
somebody I would advise to check out, man. Wolfie 6020.
yeah, definitely,
All he
definitely.
does is experiments. He
Awesome.
he
And
don't he don't he don't he don't do a lot of speculation. He does experiments.
sure, sure. No, no, fair enough. I love slaughtering blowtards, brother. So I'll definitely
Ah!
be checking out his videos, man. And if Wolfie 6020, you listening, man, yeah, kia ora from New Zealand, brother.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I have a question. What questions? Because you said that, they started asking, they had questions that about the globe that you couldn't answer. So my question to you is, what were those questions?
uh, oh, okay. Basically, whoa, what were the questions? What are the questions? Um, what was one question? Oh, the horizon.
Okay.
You know, boats disappearing over the horizon. We've seen the whole Bill Nye experiment or scientific fact that boats disappear over the horizon. Therefore, they're going over the horizon. Implanted in me was they were going over the curvature. Apparently now it's no, no, no. They're not going over the curvature. They're starting to descend over the curvature, but no, they just went over They just disappeared over the horizon. Hence why, if you move to an elevated position, say 1,000 feet up in the air, you'll still see the boat. So
Okay.
when I try to put that together, from what I was taught, boat disappears, going over the horizon. Going over the horizon means going over the ball Earth, disappearing, and then I yeah, yeah. So but the higher you get, it's not actually this going over the curve from sea level, from ground level, because when you go to an elevated position, say 1,000 feet up in the air, you'll still see the boat still there. So my question then was, well, when does the curve start? Does the curve start after the boat disappears from my eyesight? Must be. So how high do I have to go until the boat disappears from my eyesight? Now, if 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 if, if we've been taught that boats go over the horizon, therefore disappear over the horizon and not over the curve, because the curve isn't taking effect, it's just the horizon, then what is the horizon? What is the horizon,
Okay.
brother?
Well, the horizon is that line at which the curve begins, meaning that depending on your height, the globe model predicts
Of course.
that a
It always
person
depends
that's
on my height.
viewing, okay, the person that's viewing the horizon at an eye level of 6 feet, the horizon would be a little over 3 miles away from your eyes. No matter
Sure.
if in what direction you're looking, if you're in the middle of the ocean and your eyes is 6 feet
Sure.
above that water, no matter which direction you're looking in, the horizon will be approximately 3 miles from your eyes. The higher
Sure.
you elevate, the more of the planet you will see.
Sure.
Okay.
So does that mean it's going over a curve when I see it 6 feet above the water or above ground level? Is it going over a curve, or is that am I being misinformed?
No, you're not being misinformed. It's because based on a globe model, we expect that the higher you go, the further you will see over that curve. And this
Sure.
is what
Okay.
is understood by the model. Now, the flat earth model, however, actually tells us something different. The horizon on the flat earth model is no definite distance away from the viewer. Okay, it is, in other words, if you take an object on a flat earth,
Sure.
and this is why you hear the thing or being said that the horizon always rises to eye level, because the horizon on the flat earth is infinite, or until the earth
Sure.
ends, in other words. And
Sure. I
so
get that. Yeah.
what, okay, so if you place an object, a building, for example, 5 miles from a viewer that's 6 feet high, the horizon on a flat earth
We'll
would
cover it.
still be behind that building. Okay.
Sure.
So
Yep. Sure.
let me just let me pull up Walter Bislin, who he has a website that does a lot of, he modeled out these things. Now, right now, it is showing from a globe Earth. Now you have an object that's 10 meters high, which is approximately 32 feet high, 10 meters
Sure.
high. Okay. The observe, excuse me, it's 12 meters. No, it's 10 meters high. Okay. The viewer height is 2 meters, which is 6 feet. Okay.
Sure. Sure.
Now, when we let's move them the target distance out a little further. Let's see. So, all right, at, excuse me, at
1,000 meters away.
14,233 meters away on a globe,
Sure.
it is saying this is what we would expect to see. The eye
Sure.
level is here. Okay. Now let's switch it to a flat earth model, the same distances and what we'd expect. Now, before I do this, we on the flat earth model, being as though the horizon is infinite, we would expect to, first, let me raise up the viewer height. On the globe Earth, if we raise up the viewer height, we should expect to see more.
Sure.
Okay. All right. Because the horizon becomes further and further away, because the globe is we are saying almost 25,000 miles in circumference. So
Sure.
as you move up, the horizon also moves further away. But let me go back down to 2 meters. I'm trying to get it exactly at 2 meters. Oh man. Okay. Well, I'll get it close. Okay, that's close enough. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, if I flip it to a flat earth, boom, the same measurements, the
Sure.
horizon will be at your eye level,
Sure.
and the horizon will be behind that 32-meter object.
Yes,
Now,
that's correct.
if I rise up, the horizon rises up with me. So now the horizon will still remain at eye level.
Yes.
Okay. So my point is, even though the object is 14,000 meters away, It's
Sure.
14,000 meters away. Oh, I don't know, catch real short. It's, it's 14,000 meters away, and an observer of almost 2 meters in height,
Sure.
the horizon is still behind the object,
Behind the object. Yes.
which we do not see in reality.
No. Oh, of course not. We can't see that far. Definitely. Unless we get to an elevated position, then we can see that in reality.
Okay, but if the object is that far away, I can put it in miles and feet. Let's, because I'm used to using miles and feet.
Sure. Yeah. No worries.
Okay, so we got a person, uh, 6 or a little over at 6 feet in height, pretty much,
Sure.
and we have an object that's 8 miles away. On a flat Earth, we see a horizon behind that object,
Sure.
but on a globe Earth, that object will be behind the horizon.
Yep.
So my thing to you is, when we're looking at a boat, if we're at the same height, we see a boat, disappear hull first,
Yes.
okay, which is indicative of a globe Earth.
Yes. Well, I answered that question a bit too quick then. I mean, it's indicative of the whole disappearing.
Okay, but why would the hull be disappearing
I believe
on a flat Earth?
it'll be disappearing from our line of sight.
Huh?
It'll be disappearing from our line of sight. Basically, our perception of what is it? A vanishing point. It's come to a vanishing point, and the hull will vanish first before the top of the boat.
Why is that?
Why is that? Because our eyes can't see past past the horizon. Um, if I say, for example, you've got 20/20 vision, all right? I need glasses, so I've got about 10/20 vision, right? I took my
Mhm.
glasses off. We stood at the same point. You with your 20/20 vision, me, I took my glasses off, right? And I've only got 10/20 vision. Will
Mhm.
will you still see the boat before it vanishes from my sight, my line of sight?
I mean, I'm not sure that
Basically.
I understand your question. Of course, we know
Oh,
that the
sorry.
person with the worst vision may not be
Yes,
able
yes.
to resolve the boat,
Yeah,
but
no,
that's why
definitely.
we have equipment.
But but would it disappear from my point is, if I pulled out a the new, I know you've heard of the new camera, the Nikon Pixel 900. If I pulled
P900.
that out and zoom straight in, I will see it. I will still see the boat there. It's still there at my elevated position, where whether it's 2 feet to 6 feet from the ground level, I will still see the whole boat. Therefore, seeing the horizon behind the boat. My point is, a a, a person with 10/20 vision, the boat will already disappear. Therefore, to them and the whole psychology of this whole horizon, it's gone over the curve. I'm looking at it. No, it hasn't disappeared yet. It's still there.
Well,
I
a
hope.
person, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, no, sorry. Yeah, no, carry on. Sorry.
A person that has 2010 vision
Or 10/20 vision,
or
not 2010.
1020 vision, they have not seen the boat go over the horizon. They just are
Fair
not
enough.
able to see the boat,
Boat. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
but they
I
haven't
understand that.
seen it go over the horizon. That's two different things now. Just
Yeah,
because they
well,
can't
if they
see
haven't
it
seen.
doesn't mean that they seen something that didn't happen.
No, of course, because obviously I know you're where you come from. It's if they can't see a boat, then how are they going to see it disappear over the horizon? Well, I'm trying to just come up with a basic analogy that if you got poor eyesight compared to my eyesight, where you can look out into an ocean and you can see a boat, okay? I bet
Mhm.
you I could see past that boat. Or if you can make a figure out of somebody swimming in the ocean, I bet you I could see past that figure that you can make out. I hope that makes sense.
Okay. Okay.
But yes, the Nikon, pull out the Nikon Pixel 900. That's the flat earthers camera, and yeah,
Of
we'll
choice.
zoom that boat back into focus, man.
The thing is, if a P900, of course, it has an 83 times zoom.
Sure.
When it is not zoomed, in other words, if it's using zero zoom, okay, the P900 does not have a better, at zero zoom, it does not have a better resolution than the human eye. So, in other
Yeah, I know.
words, if I'm looking at a P900 without any zoom, I'm looking at the horizon, a boat that's near the horizon. Through the
Sure.
P900, I may not be able to see the boat, but yet I can still see it with my eyes.
Yes.
So what I'm saying to you is that a lot of times when these flat earthers show a zoom video where they saying that the boat has gone over the horizon and now they zoomed
Sure.
it back into view, they're showing you through a P900 at zero zoom, which it doesn't have the ability to see things that your eye can see. And so what
Yeah,
I'm
sure.
saying to you is that the P900 not seeing the boat does not mean that the boat has actually gone over the horizon, because once you zoom in on a boat that has gone over the horizon, no matter how much you zoom in, that hull has not come back. And the only way you can bring that hull back is if you elevate your position. And just
Oh, I
as the
don't know.
sun,
I don't know
see, when the
about that.
sun goes below the horizon, it's a big light. So when it goes below the horizon, there's no mistaking that it has went
I
over the
think it's
horizon.
that. I get that. I get that. I get that. I get that. I understand where your logic is, and I think the logic is based around the word horizon,
Okay.
and that's where your logic is based, and most people's logic is actually based is just that actual word horizon, meaning horizon is the beginning of curvature. It's subconsciously implanted in us that the horizon is the beginning of the curvature of the earth because the boat has disappeared over the horizon, you know, yet it's only disappeared past our line of sight, past our vanishing point, and that's the truth. Whether it's a a Nikon 9 P900, or it's a pair of binoculars, you'll still see the boat. Now, to say that the hull has disappeared, of course, the hull has disappeared from the distance between yourself on the shoreline to the boat. As a volume of water, and it's not still water. So we're not taking in context the volume of water between our vision, our sight, our point on the our distance from the boat. We're not taking the volume of water, so definitely we will not see the hull. But when the boat comes closer to the subject or comes closer to you, then definitely you'll see the hull because the volume of water has actually disappeared. I mean, I hope that makes sense, brother. But of course, we won't see the hull from all the way out there, but we definitely see water behind the boat when we zoom out with a P900.
So, for example, if I'm 20 miles away,
Sure,
okay, I'm looking at a building that's, say, 300 feet high, okay,
sure,
and at a low zoom, for example, just a low zoom, and I can see the top of those buildings or that building.
sure.
No matter how much more I zoom in, I do not see any more of that building than I've seen when it wasn't zoomed in. I just see
What you
it
saw
get bigger
before.
in the frame, but the amount of the building that I see is never more.
Okay,
Okay.
I've not seen that on and mind you, I've only seen experiments on YouTube that have used the Pico 900, and one experiment I don't know where to point you. I forgot the video, but it just shows that it had a guy on one end of the shoreline, and his wife was on the other end of the shoreline. She had a laser pointer. She put the laser pointer just above the water, so we could say maybe 3 feet above the water, where he was from his elevated from his point, about 3 feet about above the water, and he could see the laser pointer, which was and miles and feet away. I can't I don't know. When people start talking about the curvature and all that, and when the when an object should be disappearing, I can't form the numbers in my head, if that makes sense to you. I don't know when we what elevated point or what point of the building we should see when it's 200 miles up. I can't figure out numbers in my head, but when I see these types of experiments where a guy's, he goes up to the lake, he does it on a not a calm day, a windy day, dark, and he does the experiment over and over again using real science, where you test, observe, and repeat. No, and he's tested,
Uh-huh.
observed, and repeated what he did right there on YouTube. Fair enough. I could be just believing what he says, but I've never seen, other than a, a flat Earth debunking video, proving your point that we can only see the top of the building. We can't see the bottom of the building. I've not got a Nikon P900 camera myself,
Uh-huh.
nor do I think I ever want to get a Nikon P900 camera for the price it is. But I you could say that I'm taking it on face value as what is being presented to me on YouTube videos, but yeah, I'm gonna stick with that, man. I, I, I I can't base a scientific fact on the curvature and all that just by that. I use my eyes, my eyesight, and people say sensors. Yeah, sure enough, I use my sensors, man. But yeah, I can't. Not neither can I confirm, nor can I the, yeah, neither can I confirm your argument, or I can't squash your argument. What you're saying to me is it's not what I've seen, so to say. And like I said, yeah, it might be on YouTube, but obviously the information that I'm giving out or I've received has not come through the mainstream media. So obviously YouTube's the only sort of portal of advice I can get from, man. I can't find it anywhere else.
Okay. Well, most of the people that I see nowadays that is involved in the flat Earth argument and belief has come to the flat Earth by looking at YouTube videos.
Yeah, sure, definitely. Yeah, that's the only place where we can find this sort of information. Definitely.
Okay.
But not to
And
say that I
so,
haven't gone out to the beach and checked out the horizon, or haven't gone on a hill. I've definitely gone up hills, mountains, and whatnot over here in New Zealand, and everything that I see is definitely everything that's been taught to me on a lot of these flat Earth videos. I actually didn't come into it to prove flat Earth. I came into it to debunk flat Earth, and I think most of the people who are now flat Earthers actually came with the same mindset. It was never to agree to it. We came against it with the swords, drawn, ready to cut anything down that represented flat Earth. It's when we couldn't cut anything down, And I understand the information that you're giving me, from the information that you have on the whole globe model. I never had that 2 years ago, so I couldn't ask the questions that you're asking me now. You're asking these
and
questions that I couldn't ask myself back then. So
well,
sorry.
well,
Continue.
one of the things that I said when I first got into this debate is that the average person, a lot of flat earthers say, well, I used to be a glober and things of this nature. But I said that if you walk up to the average person on the street and you ask them about the heliocentric model or the globe model, they can't answer a lot of the basic questions, even though
No.
they were taught
Yeah, no, definitely.
this. So most of them don't even really know the model. And
They don't know the
so,
math of the model.
yeah, they, they just don't know. They just pretty much thought it was common knowledge. They
Yep.
thought that it was just something, I mean, that was so much proof that,
No
I mean,
need to
there's no
look
need for
into
me
it.
to even get into it. I just know that's what it is.
Exactly. Exactly, brother. Definitely.
And this
That,
is
no,
why I believe that a lot of people who come into flat earth, because they never really knew the other model, flat
yes.
earth is easier, I believe, to believe.
Yeah, sure, sure, sure. It wasn't easier to believe. Yeah, like you said, I never, when I heard the first time I heard the word heliocentricity, as a what the, what have I got myself into? I really am at the beginning marker of this whole model, heliocentricity. I didn't know what that meant. But to say it's easier,
In
it's
other words, it's simpler. It doesn't take all it takes
oh yes,
is,
definitely,
as they
definitely.
say, trust
There's
your
no
senses
mathematical
and pretty much
equation.
because the earth looks
Definitely.
like it's
I mean,
flat,
yeah.
right?
Oh well, it doesn't look like it's flat. I mean, I've got mountains and ridges. I'm in a bit of a gully, but of course it doesn't look like it's flat. But yeah, no,
I mean,
definitely.
but you know what I mean when I say flat. Not
Yeah,
that it
yeah, yeah.
doesn't have hills and things of this nature, but if you look out on the water, or if you
It
go
looks flat.
to the Bonneville
Yeah,
salt flats, it looks flat,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and you
Definitely.
don't
Yeah,
feel
yes,
motion.
absolutely, absolutely, sir. Yeah, absolutely.
So
Yeah,
it's
no, so
easier to believe that
yeah, yeah. Only
in that
because I
sense.
couldn't do the math. I couldn't do the math. I couldn't picture 93 million miles away. I couldn't picture 66,600 miles per hour orbit around the sun. You know what I mean? So
Uh-huh.
it's sort of like if I wasn't in that sort of echelon of science or physics or calculus, then I would never ever have a grip on the globe model.
Yes.
So to understand the maths and science, no, definitely. I came through the public school system, so in a sense, yeah, going with the flat Earth model, it was easier, in that sense. Definitely, it was easier because there was something that I could understand. Like I said,
Okay.
when I believed in the globe model, I couldn't even answer. I couldn't even back up anything. I didn't even know how to answer. Um, what is it? Gravity.
Mhm.
That's how far I was.
Yes.
I'm 38 now years old, sir. 2 years ago, I was what, 36. So
Yes.
yeah, 36 years, I couldn't explain what gravity was.
Wow.
Now I can understand. It's not that I couldn't explain it. I just said, oh well, everyone's stuck to the Earth, and that's what keeps us to the Earth. So because the Earth is rotating, spinning around, blah blah blah, and we don't water doesn't get flung out into space, and blah blah blah. You know, um, you know,
Now
when
you're
when when
speaking about that speed, right?
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
Well, you can see my screen, right?
Yep.
Okay. Hold on. Let me boom. Hold on. Let me go boom. I want to go to real time.
What's the site called? Celestia, is it? Is it called Celestia?
Yeah, it's called Celestia. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna do this real quick. I'm gonna
Sure,
just restart it over, which only take a few seconds, but
sure, sure.
it gives you position in real time. Like if we
Sure.
go back to, for example, the solar eclipse, you will be
Yep.
able to see it and its path of totality. You will be able to
Sure.
see it in the future. like any solar eclipse in the future and this predicted path of totality, if I put that date
Awesome.
in here, you will actually be able to see what is predicted to come in the future and any solar eclipse in the past. This is how accurate this program is.
Awesome.
But I'm just gonna zoom out. Okay, now for a little bit. This is real time now, and what I mean by real time is just giving you a model of what is supposedly happening in real time with the solar system in terms of the motions of the planets.
Sure.
Okay, look how fast that 1,000 miles an hour is.
Yeah.
1,037 at the equator. You see how fast
Wow.
it's moving?
Yeah.
That's pretty fast.
That's pretty
Now, if I
fast.
speed it up 100 times faster, now if you look up here, that's 100 times faster in real
Sure.
time. It's still hot. You still can't even tell it's moving hardly. Now,
Exactly.
this 10,000 times faster.
Wow.
Okay. All right.
Wow.
Now let me just go back down to real time. Now let me zoom out further and show you that 66,000 miles per hour. Okay. Now let me tilt the solar system. Tilt it a little bit more. Let me see. Okay. Now let me just go here. Now the red is the Earth. Now this
Yes.
is showing the Earth bigger than what it actually is, but it just want to give you an idea where the Earth is.
Sure.
Okay. Okay. That's 66,000 miles per hour in real time. Okay.
Oh
In
wow.
comparison to the sun. This is how big or how much space is involved in the solar system. And this is something I say when you're dealing with scale. Just
Sure.
imagine, okay, if you're a 6 feet tall person
Yep.
and you walking at a decent pace, you can say
Sure.
that every step you take, you can cover 2 feet. Okay.
Sure. Sure.
So at a 6 feet tall person, walking at a decent pace, it shouldn't be too hard for them to cover 2 feet. Now,
Sure.
let's just take, just hypothetically speaking, imagine a person that's 600,000 feet
Sure.
tall. Okay.
Yep.
That means every step would be 200,000 feet.
Sure.
Okay. So every step, they will be covering over 20 miles or
Sure.
shoot, 40 miles, almost about 37 miles or so for
Sure.
every step.
Yep.
So what I'm saying to you is that just like a baby that's trying to walk with you, you don't have to take too many steps, but the baby pretty much got to run and keep up with you walking.
Yep. Definitely. Yeah.
And so I'm just saying the size of something, speed is not necessarily what the issue is. It's the motion of the objects involved based on the scale. So in other words, a person at 600,000 feet walking 1,000 miles an hour it'd pretty much look like you walking pretty slow.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yep.
So
Yep.
I'm just saying, so when we deal with speed, it's hard for us to imagine something
So imagine it. Definitely.
exactly.
That's the whole point. That's the whole point of it. You add a couple of numbers to the equation, and it's hard to imagine that. And that's where I was when I first started this journey. I couldn't imagine. I couldn't see the numbers. When scientists tell me 14 billion years ago dinosaurs roamed the earth, I'm like, well, 14 billion years ago, that's a long time. I can't even count to 14 billion, let alone imagine what 14 billion looks like. And so when I hear the vast multiverse, not just a universe, it's a vast multiverse that is added on to the whole 14 billion years ago. If it's so vast, then we have not come down to a calculation yet, because it's a vast universe, multiverse. We've got to understand this. It's too vast to ever come to a calculation. So how did we get the number 666,000? as an orbit around the sun, 93 million miles away from the sun itself. I don't know how. If the multiverse is so vast, vast to me means infinite.
Uh-huh.
So we can't really get a calculation on anything if it's a vast multiverse. We can't get a distance. We can't get a distance. We can't even come to scale on the model that we're using. That's why I got onto Greater Sapien, his video, to say, well, you pull out a model, but you ain't got the scale. He pulls out his model on his video. He shows his old, oh, this is the Earth here, blah, blah. Sorry, the Earth is bigger than the sun. That's a fail, and he rotates the Earth on an axis that you don't need to tilt the Earth, right? Because it's already been tilted on a globe. You don't need to tilt the globe because the globe is already at its axis, at its 33 degrees. So when you're tilting the sun, his globe towards his sun to make it work, he's gone past the whole 33-degree point. Let alone he didn't orbit his little Earth model around that sun. So how can we ever get a definitive description on this vast multiverse, sir? How can we ever get that? That's where I can't calculate the numbers. That's where I get lost with the numbers. Einstein came out with the theory of relativity, and only he and maybe only three people ever knew what that meant. Yet it proved rotation. How did that happen?
Well, I mean, the theory of relativity was basically referring to the warp in space time due to the mass of an
Definitely,
object, and he pretty much um
definitely,
in
exactly. The warp in space-time due to the mass of an object. But yet we're finding out now that it's a vast multiverse. He was only dealing with a universe at that time. We're dealing with a multiverse now. So does the theory of relativity still come into contention, or should it be made void?
well, the thing is that it's in this case it's only referring to the gravitational pull of the objects that have mass in the universe. Now,
Definitely,
when you're
based on
talking
numbers.
about a multiverse is only referring to other universes, okay, that
Definitely,
within
definitely,
a
a
system.
full
Is just
system.
like you're an individual unit, but you still have to function within your unit.
Yes,
And just
I
like
understand that.
you have functions in your body, my body also has functions, and they're similar. We have
Sure,
a urinary tract system. We
sure.
have endocrine system. We have different systems in our body, a nervous
That
system.
do their job.
But even though you're a different person, you still function by the same rules that I function by.
Yes,
So
definitely.
what I'm saying is that when we're dealing with this solar system, exactly how they measure the weight of the Earth, they say the Earth weighs 6 sextillion tons. I don't know how they do that, but hell, I don't know how they get us a picture on a TV from overseas and get it to my house. You know what I mean? So, you know, you're in New Zealand, okay, and I'm in DC, yet we're
Sure,
communicating and we can see each other if need be. Now, if it was left to me to try to figure out how to do that, of
sure.
course, more than likely I'd be dead before I figure that out. You know what I mean? If
Yeah,
I didn't have no information to go by, you understand what
yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah,
Then
yeah, yeah. No, definitely.
so what I'm saying is that I'm using technology that I don't know how they came up with it. Now
Yes,
I can look it
exactly.
up.
That's exactly what you're doing, sir. And I'm glad you admitted that, sir, because the technology we have today is not the same technology Einstein was using, right? Yet we use his theory today to prove gravity. How
Uh-huh.
is that? And yet, when Einstein was looking at the sun, the sun wasn't, what is it, going through the universe. It was actually a pivotal sun rather than a a sun that's just moving, constantly moving, you know, and in a direction that we don't know which direction it's going to. Neither did Einstein take into calculation what our satellites are apparently picking up now: new Earths, new moons. You know, so he couldn't take any of those factors into consideration at the time he made the theory of relativity. Yet we've still got that relativity, that theory, in contention with our Earth. How I can't, I can't
Well,
understand if
well,
you
you
can.
got to look at it in order to understand why it's still being used today. You have to understand that the model, whatever is going on in the model, and that's
Sure,
describing a phenomenon in the model, until they can come up with a better explanation
sure,
for what's happening, then they
fair enough.
go with what best fits the explanation. And it's
Yes,
demonstrated through things like the Cavendish experiment, things like you can, for example, if you had a scale that can
sure.
measure milligrams, okay,
Yep,
if you had a scale that can measure milligrams and you can hang uh, a hook from that scale, it allows you, it's like a hook scale,
yep,
and
yep.
you hang a weight from that scale,
Yes,
okay, that's, in milligrams, and you take a 25-pound weight that's kind of dense, in other words, it's not spread it out over a big surface, but it has a small surface, but it's a 25-pound weight, and you slide that weight up under
that hook.
that little weight that you have on the hook.
Yep,
That little weight will then weigh a little more than it did before you slid that weight up under it.
sure.
So what I'm saying is that the mass of an object, whatever it's called, they call it gravity, but they call it a force, but they don't know what it is, because
Exactly.
a force has a negative side to it.
Well, it has to
Gravity
have a
doesn't have a negative side. You know what I
amen,
mean? Because
brother.
every force
Amen.
has a
Amen,
negative
brother.
part to it, huh?
Amen, brother. Amen. Amen.
Okay. So the gravity is no negative part to gravity. So this is why, even though they call it a force, they don't really know what it is, and they don't know why mass attracts mass. They just know it does, but they don't know
Sure.
why it
Sure.
does.
Sure. Sure. Sure.
Okay.
I reckon it's because of density. I think it's because of density, sir. you know,
Well, that's
then,
something that YouTubers say, but they have not tested that. And that still doesn't explain why me putting the weight up under that other weight would cause that weight on top to become heavier. It does
sure. Sure.
density doesn't explain that,
Sure. 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 No. 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 Of course
you
not.
know.
I see the analogy with the weights. Um, Yeah, I mean, to put it to bigger scale, this is what I believe the weights represent. So you got a smaller weight hanging on the hook, then you put a larger weight underneath it. Definitely, the larger weight's going to be pulling down the smaller weight, and that's how we try to explain gravity. Definitely, because everything falls down, right? Everything falls downwards in a downward motion. Yet a helium balloon, the the balloon without helium will fall down in a negative motion. I mean, sorry, in a downward motion. But the balloon filled with helium would always um, uh, go up against the motion. So, like you said, gravity needs to have a positive motion and a negative motion, but we can't find it. We can only find one side. We can't find the other side. Yet we've used this analogy that you just with the scale and all that to try and say, hey, look, this could be happening. Whereas coming into flat Earth contention, nah, yeah, if you're still trying to prove gravity, then we can't no one can neither disprove or prove it. But yet it's taught in our our mainstream education to our children, brother, and that's the problem. You know, that ultimately is the problem. You know, when I grew up as a young fella, I was told by my parents that Santa Claus existed, and the Tooth Fairy came and got my tooth and put the money there, and Easter bunnies lay fucking chocolate Easter eggs. So I grew up with that mind process. I actually thought that I saw Santa Claus one night. I actually thought that I caught the Tooth Fairy taken off. I actually thought that I could see Easter bunnies in my garden, jumping around. I actually thought that being a young fella until the process until I was told, no, that doesn't exist. When you're a 15-year-old and you're still believing in Santa Claus and all that, and all your friends are like telling you for the last 10 years, no, it doesn't exist, and you come into contention with your own thought process and your own, you hit cognitive dissonance, and cognitive dissonance is basically what humbles us, brother, and what corrects us. Uh, The only way we're going to be corrected is not letting anyone else correct us, but us to correct ourselves. And only then will we accept correction. Till then, we're just following the doctrine of somebody else who's taught us this doctrine. And you know, I I've I've looked past the fact that Santa Claus isn't real no more. Santa Claus is not real. So if 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 you know if we've been told that the world Earth is a globe, and for the last 500 years, then I don't expect everyone to just jump off the globe yet. I don't expect that, especially if you're a scholar and the equations and the maths, defining rotation and gravity and Big Bang. I mean, if you're fluent in that sort of in that area, and so be it. So be it. I congratulations to you. I see that as more motivation for a globe, a globe head or globe tard to actually fight on with the narrative. To make the narrative work. Everyone's still making Einstein's theory work. Everyone's still making, oh well, theory of gravity is no longer a theory of gravity, even though it's not been proven to be true. It's now become a law. When we start looking past the words and actually thinking about it, then we'll understand that we've been lied to.
Now, I agree that we have been lied to about a lot of things. But when you're dealing with a flat earth, there's a lot of people that will have to be involved in this conspiracy. Now, I did prison time for conspiracy. And I
Wow.
know, we know, you could say, well, NASA lies and all of this green screen, we can see that they're using the green screen. But
Sure.
yet, not only them, but a multitude of professions: astrophysics, physics, cosmology, cosmogony, meteorology, the whole entire satellite. You got satellite radio, you have satellite TV, you have satellite phones, you have private GPS companies, you have Virgin Galactic, Sir Richard Branson, you have Blue Origin, Jeff Bezos, you have SpaceX, Elon Musk, and all of their workers. You have
Yeah.
many space agencies, private space agencies. I'm not even talking about governmental space agencies, but private space agencies around the world.
Sure.
All of them will have to be involved in the conspiracy. Yet
Yeah, I understand.
it doesn't leak out. Now, is it possible that all of these people can be involved in the conspiracy, yet NASA can't even hide a green screen? It's possible, but is it likely?
Fair enough. No, fair enough. I mean, that's not kind of hide the green screen. Yeah, no, I understand that logic, man. Yeah, definitely. That's NASA, man. They didn't hide the green screen. What's wrong with you? Yeah, I understand, brother. I understand, and all these corporations being involved in the same conspiracy. No, I can't see, I don't know, but I really can't see that. Um, every single person in every all of these agencies, if you're talking about thousands and thousands of people, yeah, if they were all in on the same joke, it would be hard to keep it, keep the joke a secret. Definitely, I understand that. But if you work a population to believe that what they're doing is right, and you feed their egos, so to say, and you keep feed, and what they're doing is right, and everything, you give him a pat on the back. He's not going to ask you any questions. He's just loving the fact that he's been acknowledged for something that he's done, if that makes sense. So he's not going to ask any questions about what it is. Now, when you've got somebody, when you say, "Oh, okay, these people work on this," you got Tesla rockets and Elon Musk and all that with his rockets and stuff like that. Sure, I understand that. I believe that the person who fixes the top of the rocket only knows what the top of the rocket has to do. The person who works on the middle of the rocket only knows what the middle rocket has to do, and the person who looks after the bottom of the rocket only knows what the bottom rocket has to do. However, there's one person who knows what all functions of that rocket need to do, and that's the person at the top. He doesn't need the miners to worry. They just need to know that they're doing their job, and their job is being done right. They don't need to know the full story, or what the conclusion is. If I told you to, hey, look, I need you to put that right tire on, okay? To put the right tire on, it's going to make the car move, and it's not going to be one tire less. So that's your job, but you don't know what the whole point of the whole. There could be something else that I need that car for, rather than just moving in a forward direction. But you just know that you've done your job to put the tire on. Yet the other person, there are more functions to the car than just putting a tire on.
No
So
question.
if you don't know, sorry, sorry, carry
No,
on.
go
Sorry.
ahead.
So if you don't know what the engine does, or how to work an engine, then your mind just is stuck on the tire, and that's the person who's on the bottom, who works on the bottom part of the rocket. The person on the middle part, he works on the engine of the car, but he don't know what's going on with the tire. He's just told to work on the engine of the car. The top of the rocket is the person who works on the steering. He doesn't know that there was a problem or anything wrong with the tire, nor was there anything wrong with the engine. He just knows there was a problem with the steering. So that was what he was there. So when you got thousands of people that could keep the secret, no. But do you have thousands of people that are in on the secret? I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I know that when you're dealing with, for example, the military, a
Sure.
lot of people in the military, they go to war, they don't know what they're fighting for. They are told one
Absolutely.
thing, and they're going to
Exactly.
fight, and they're dying for something
They
that
don't know what they're dying
they
for.
don't even know what they're dying for.
Amen.
And so we understand that. We understand that you can have people working in certain places and only know their job
Yes.
and don't know other things. But when
Sure.
you're working in a place and you only are responsible for putting on a tire, that
Sure.
doesn't negate the fact that you know it's a real car. You
Fair
understand what
enough.
I'm
Fair enough.
saying?
Sure, sure,
And
sure. Yeah, absolutely, brother. Amen. I do.
you know,
This is
it's
relativity now. We're going into relativity now. You know that,
yes,
don't you? Yeah.
yes.
Amen. Amen, brother. Yeah. Carry on. Sorry, brother.
And there's a few things that are coming up, and I'm not even talking about, well, you got events that are yearly events, for example, that are on the continent of Antarctica. Okay.
Sure. Sure.
All right. Now you have things like you have a race around the world. Okay. That's it said that the lines of longitude meet at the poles, North Pole as well as South Pole. So all
Sure.
the time zones are there because the lines meet. And so there's a 2 mile race annually every year around the South Pole. And it's called Race Around the World because they run through every time zone. There's media coverage. There's
Sure. Yeah.
websites that speak on it. And you have other things like the Antarctic Cup race, where they circumnavigate Antarctica, the Vendée Globe race, where they circumnavigate Antarctica. You have other events that are in Antarctica, the Ice Marathon in Antarctica. Uh,
Sure.
2 years ago, you had a lady by the name of Lisa Blair to circumnavigate Antarctica. Um, they have a flight, they have a plane right
Sure.
as we speak.
Getting
Now we
ready to
have
launch.
things coming up in the future, near future, with those a couple of those private space agencies where they will be offering trips into lower Earth orbit, where you will be
Wow.
able to see the Earth. But currently, there
Sure.
is a company. I'm about to get the name of it for you. I went on their website. They are currently offering a flight. And one of the guarantees of the flight, you get to find it's almost like a flight fighter jet, right?
Sure. Sure. Sure.
Okay, it can move
Wow.
real
Wow.
fast.
That'd be
But
awesome. Yeah.
they are currently offering a flight, and they have certain guarantees of this flight. Okay,
Sure.
and it's called flyfighterjet.com.
Wow.
Okay,
That'd be awesome. That'd be
let
awesome.
me let me let me uh let me pull them up. Fighterjet.com. I'm gonna share my screen. Give me a second, and we'll be closing out in a little bit. I ain't gonna hold you hostage too
No
much
worries,
longer,
man.
my brother.
No worries, my brother. You know, I'm loving the conversation, man.
Okay, this is the website, uh, flyfighterjet.com.
Awesome.
I believe. Let me see. Let me take the MiG 29 Edge of Space flight. This is a current flight that they're currently offering. Okay. Now,
Sure.
um, I'm gonna see if I can show you their guarantees. Um, I don't remember how I got to it. But one of their guarantees, if you check out this flight, this website, one of their
Mm-hmm.
guarantees is you will see the curve of the Earth. That's part of the guarantee of the flight.
Sure.
Okay,
Awesome.
that's part of the guarantee of the flight. Uh,
Sure.
let me see.
Man, I'd love to go on that flight. You know, definitely. I don't know if I'll be able to afford that flight. I'd say it'd be more expensive than a trip down to Antarctica on a boat. And those trips start from around $30,000 US. So I definitely won't be going to Antarctica to be, to camp out in a tent and piss in a bucket. So for $30,000, um, so I won't be able to be there to see, see the boat races and whatnot. With this flight, this would probably be the best option for me if I ever wanted to improve the curvature or non-curvature of the globe Earth. This will be the best option for me. Definitely, definitely.
You see what it
Um,
says here? It says, "What will I get if I book an Edge of Space flight?" In one of those, you
you'll
will
see the
see the curvature of the Earth.
of the awesome,
Okay,
awesome. Yep.
so that's one of the things that you will get. Uh,
Oh, it's only 17,000. euro. So what's that? Oh, that's still about 45,000 New Zealand dollars, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, no, no, definitely. My whole point is, you know, I doubt we could ever prove it, but if someone was to go, I'd want them to take my phone. If someone was to jump on one of those fighter jets, I'd definitely want them to take my phone and take the, you know, take a video of it. I wouldn't be able to put funds towards it. Is the point? Um, wh- when I say that I'm a flat earther, it doesn't mean that um it's just a plane. What it means, or it doesn't mean that I'm 100%. I'm only 99%, 0.9999999 da 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 percent um, certain. Okay, certain that the Earth is not a globe.
Okay.
Whereas, you know, everyone else is 99.9999999% certain that Earth is a globe. So I'm on the opposite of the scale. To try and prove it, I don't think we'll ever get to try and prove it. Um, I mean, you know, to think that we made it through the Van Allen radiation belts in 1969 is ridiculous. To think that
Well, I mean, I say this when it comes to the dealing with the moon landing. I don't know what the moon landing. In other words, I wasn't there,
sure.
so I don't know whether they landed on the moon or not. But what I do know is that they the ones who came up with the idea, if it's not real, of the Van Allen radiation belts. According to a flat Earth model, those belts don't exist anyway. So my thing is that
Oh well, the firmament of God is basically our Van Allen radiation belt.
okay. Now you know there's no evidence for a firmament, right?
Well, there is an evidence for a Van Allen radiation belt.
Exactly. So that's why, like I said, I have no argument of whether they went to the moon or not because I try to focus on things that we can empirically observe
Yeah, sure.
ourselves,
Definitely,
you
sir.
know.
Definitely, sir. And that's what
So
I can empirically
that's why
observe.
like if you ever hear me talk, I never talk about things like the moon landing or things of that nature because I can't empirically observe that. It's not
Definitely.
it's not possible for me to empirically observe that. Now, like when I'm speaking of, like for example, the Southern Star Trails, even though I haven't been and observed them myself, I can.
You
It's
can still
possible
observe
for
it.
me to observe them. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. We can observe
Yes.
the sun rising and the sun setting. We can observe that. We
Yes.
can't observe a multiverse with an orbit around the sun of 66,600 miles per hour, nor can we observe the rotation of the Earth at 1,000 miles per hour.
Yes.
We cannot
But
do it.
there are things that happen on Earth that points and experiments that points to the Earth rotating. Okay.
Okay.
Let's
There's
deal with one.
experiments pointing to the Earth not rotating.
Okay. How would the flat Earth explain what I'm about to explain?
Sure.
Okay. One, let's just deal with the rotations of what is called a tropical cyclone. In the
Sure.
northern hemisphere where I'm at, they call them hurricanes. In
Sure.
certain in India, they call them cyclones. In Asia, they call them typhoons. Okay.
Sure.
Now, in the northern hemisphere, they rotate. The cyclones rotate counterclockwise 100% of the time. In the
Sure.
southern hemisphere, below the equator, they rotate clockwise 100% of the time. No cyclone is formed within 5 degrees of the equator.
Oh wow.
Okay.
I didn't know that.
Nor do they cross the equator.
Wow.
How would a how would a flat Earth explain that?
Whew. Um,
Motionless Earth. How would they explain that?
I guess it's you're talking about a vortex. Well, an above ground type vortex. Um, and I don't know how to explain that. Um, how to explain the direction of the cyclone or typhoon, whatever may be up in the northern hemisphere as compared to the southern hemisphere. But what I have been taught, and correct me if I'm wrong, the the spin on my toilet is the same as the spin on your toilet up there in Washington D.C. It spins in a clockwise direction. With
Yes,
Yeah. So
but go ahead.
um, with natural elements, you've got southerlies as in winds, and you've got northerlies as in winds. So yeah, if you're getting northerly winds from obviously the north of the equator, I'd say it's blown in an opposite direction to a southerly wind from south of the equator. So if they're both blown in opposite directions, then I can see a hurricane in the north of the equator blowing in an opposite direction to a hurricane or a typhoon in the south of the equator.
Now keep in mind what you're saying now, because we know that wind blows in different directions. Different
Absolutely.
directions. I just filmed clouds today going in different directions. So
Absolutely.
different levels, wind blowing in different directions. However, in the northern hemisphere, the cyclone is 100% counterclockwise. It's never clockwise. So
Sure,
if it's
sure, sure.
based alone on wind, we know that wind goes in different directions. But
Sure.
100% of the time is counterclockwise in the north, and
Wow.
100% of the time is clockwise in the south.
In the south. Wow, that's awesome. That's a fun. That's the first time I've heard that fact, sir. That's awesome. I didn't know that. That's how the hell that's crazy, eh? I can see that. And I certainly don't have an answer for that, sir. Definitely not.
Yes,
I
sir.
just know that when you get a southern wind, it goes in the different direction to a northerly. I mean, a northerly is a wind coming from the north projected towards the south. A southerly is a wind coming from the south projected towards the north. So I can see opposite directions in the wind, the wind directions in that. So yeah, that's a fun fact, and wow, I'm stumped on that question, sir. So all that's the only answer I can give you, sir. Is like a
Yes,
northerly
sir.
is a wind coming from the north heading in the south direction.
Yes.
So that
Check into
it's
that though.
definitely
That's something to look into. You
definitely
know.
absolutely, sir. No, definitely, I like that. I really like that, sir. Thank you.
Hey man, I enjoyed having this conversation with you. And how do you
Yes, yes, yes,
pronounce
brother. Thank
how
you.
do you pronounce the name? Tan Sam? How you
Tanz.
pronounce
It's Tanz.
Tons?
Tanz.
Tons.
Tanz. No, appreciate it, sir. Thank you very much, Jermaine.
Yes, sir.
Brother, thank you very much, sir. So, I mean, I'd love to have another conversation with you anytime, sir. So you know how to get reach me, man. But appreciate it, and all praise to the Most High. All praise to our Creator, our Father, that put us on this earth to be gods, brother. So, amen to you, brother. And no, I love it. I love it. I love the dialogue that we just had, man.
Yes.
I have dialogue. I have dialogue with a lot of flat earthers, but via a post or a forum, and they're just all vile. I wish they were all just the same as you, sir. You know,
Yes, sir.
but thank you.
I thank you for coming on. I enjoyed our conversation. I'm
Me too.
glad now that I know where I actually have your city in my phone now, so I know the time. So I know, like, if in the
Awesome.
future, what I mean,
Amen.
I know when to contact you and when, if it's
Please
too
do,
late
sir.
not to
Please do.
contact you.
Please do, sir. But what is the time? It's 12:45 in the afternoon over here, sir. What time is it over there?
It is 8:46 p.m.
Oh wow. Oh, okay, okay. Oh no, no. Hey, thank you very much, sir, for the opportunity to get on your show.
Oh yeah, thank you for coming, and thank you for giving us some things you got, man, and able to have a civil conversation.
Absolutely, sir. You know, that's all we're here to do, man. Is just be civil. And thank you, thank you. Pleasure's all mine, sir. Thank you.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Will do. Take care. Ka kite. See you later, brother.
I'll see you later.